You're quieter than I expected, she said. I forced a smile. Just taking it in. She looked ahead, then back at me. I can't quite figure you out. My stomach nodded. Is that bad? Her lips curved. Not at all. I like a good mystery. She moved ahead to join the others, leaving me with the sound of my own heartbeat thudding in my ears. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I found Sophia on the porch, sipping wine under the stars. Harper's. Curious, I said quietly. Sophia didn't look surprised. Good. Good. She turned to me, her expression unreadable in the moonlight. Because curiosity makes people pay attention. And when they're paying attention, they see exactly what you want them to see. Something in her tone told me this weekend wasn't about acceptance at all. It was about control, and I had no idea how far she planned to take it. The second morning at the cabin started with Harper's voice carrying from the kitchen. Alina, you drink coffee or tea? The sound of my chosen name still made my chest tighten, half from fear, half from something I didn't want to name. Tea, thanks, I called back, keeping my tone light. When I joined them, Harper was leaning against the counter, 2 mugs in front of her. She gestured toward one, chamomile, thought it'd match your calm energy. The way she said it made me wonder if calm was her polite word for careful. The group decided to walk into the small lakeside town after breakfast Sophia had picked. My outfit, slim jeans, a cream turtleneck, ankle boots with just enough heel to make each step deliberate. My hair was down, brushed until it gleamed, framing the light makeup she'd applied that morning. We strolled past antique shops and bakeries. I kept close to Sophia, laughing at her comments, until Harper pulled me toward a boutique with a sign that read Lily's Closet. Just for fun, she said. Inside, racks of dresses and blouses surrounded us. Harper ran her fingers along the fabric, then plucked a dusty blue wrap dress from the rack. This would look amazing on you. Try it. My pulse spiked. I don't go on, she urged, smiling like it was a harmless game. Let's see how fearless you are. Sophia's eyes met mine over Harper's shoulder, and she didn't stop her dot in the small fitting room. I closed the door and stared at myself in the mirror. Was Harper really just being playful? Or was she trying to push me somewhere I wasn't ready to go? I slipped the dress over my head, its fabric cool and light. When I stepped out, Harper's expression flickered, surprise then something sharper. Told you, she said softly. Perfect. Her gaze lingered a second too long before she turned to rehang the dress. I caught Sophia watching us, her face unreadable but her grip on her coffee cup a little too tight. That evening, as we sat by the fire, Harper asked me questions that sounded casual but felt pointed. So, Alina, you from around here originally? Family close by? What did you do before you met Sophia? Each one was a step closer to dangerous territory, and Sophia answered most of them for me, weaving half-truths and small lies without hesitation. By the time everyone drifted off to bed, my nerves were raw. I found Sophia in our room, folding one of my sweaters with deliberate care. She's fishing, I said. I know, Sophia replied. And you're doing fine. Let her think she's getting somewhere. Why? I asked. Sophia looked up, her voice calm but loaded. Because when the reveal comes, it'll be on our terms, not hers. The word reveal sent a cold wave through me. And for the first time, I wondered if I'd been walking toward it willingly without realizing it. The next afternoon, Harper announced we were going into town for lunch. Nothing fancy, she said, pulling on her coat. Just that little cafe by the pier. Sophia glanced at me while tying her scarf. You'll wear the black sweater dress? I hesitated. That's form-fitting. That's the point, she said, sliding the dress across the bed, and the tall boots. By the time I was dressed, every nerve felt exposed. The sweater clung in all the right or wrong places, the boots forcing my stride into smaller, more careful steps. The cafe was small, all glass windows and nautical decor. We slid into a corner booth, the 4 of them chatting easily while I tried to ignore the glances from nearby tables. Halfway through my sandwich, I froze. A man in a worn ball cap had just walked in, and I knew him, Jake Carter. We'd gone to high school together. He'd played varsity baseball, and he would recognize me. Sophia's foot brushed mine under the table. A silent command. Stay still. Jake ordered at the counter, scanned the room, and for one terrifying second, his eyes landed on me. I looked away fast, pretending to dig through my bag. When I risked a glance back, he was already walking out with his coffee, oblivious. My pulse didn't slow for minutes. Later, as we strolled along the pier, Harper fell into step beside me. You. No, she said. You carry yourself differently than most women I know. Not bad, just different. My chest tightened. Different how? She tilted her head. Like you're learning it instead of living it. I forced a small laugh. Guess I'm just awkward. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, maybe. That night, the others were in the living room playing cards when I slipped into the bedroom to breathe. Sophia followed a minute later, closing the door behind her. You handled yourself well today, she said, sitting on the edge of the bed, even with your old friend in the cafe. You saw him too? Of course, I notice everything. I crossed my arms. Sophia, when you said the reveal will be on our terms, what exactly does that mean? She looked at me for a long moment, then smiled, slow and deliberate. It means, she said, there's going to be a moment when they'll see you, all of you, and it won't be something you can take back. A chill rippled through me, because for the first time, I realized she wasn't talking about Harper anymore. She was talking about everyone, by the third night at the cabin. The air felt different, charged, like the room was holding its breath. After dinner, Harper leaned back in her chair, swirling the last of her wine. We should play a game, she said, her eyes sparkling. Something fun, something revealing. I felt Sophia's gaze on me before I even looked her way. She said nothing, just raised an eyebrow like she was silently daring me to object. Harper grinned. Let's do 2 truths and a lie. Everyone tells 3 things about themselves, and we guess which one's the lie. It sounded harmless, but my stomach nodded instantly. How was I supposed to invent truths without stepping on a landmine? Jen went first, then Riley. Harmless stories, quick laughs. Then it was Harper's turn. All right, Harper said, leaning forward. 1, I've been skydiving. 2, I can't swim. 3, I once dated someone with a secret so big, they never told me until years later. Her eyes flicked toward me. As she said the last one, my throat tightened. Skydiving's the lie, Sophia guessed, smiling casually. Harper confirmed it with a shrug, and then it was my turn. I could feel every eye on me as I forced a smile. Okay, 1, I hate roller coasters. 2, I've lived in 3 different states. 3, I've modeled before. Modeled? Riley repeated with a grin, like runway. Heat crept up my neck, just once, for a local shop. Harper tilted her head. Which shop? Before I could answer, Sophia cut in smoothly. That little boutique downtown, Lily's Closet. Harper's lips curled into something between a smile and a smirk. Interesting. The guessing went on, but I barely heard it. My pulse was still thudding from that look Harper had given me, the kind that said she'd filed the information away for later. After the game broke up, Sophia and I stepped onto the porch. The night was quiet except for the wind and the trees. You didn't have to cover for me, I said. Oh, I did, Sophia replied, leaning against the railing. Because if Harper's going to poke at you, I want to make sure she's poking in the right direction. I frowned. What direction is that? She looked at me, her voice low. The one that leads exactly where I want her and you to end up. The porch light flickered, and for a moment, her face was half in shadow. It occurred to me then that Harper might not be the real danger here. Sophia was. The next morning, Harper announced her plan over breakfast like it was the most natural thing in the world. Lakeside photo day, she said, pouring herself coffee. The light's perfect, and the view is too good to waste. Riley and Jen loved the idea instantly. I kept my eyes on my toast, hoping someone would forget to include me. Alina's in, Sophia said before I could speak. Harper smiled over her mug. Oh, she has to be. She's got the height for those long, dramatic shots. My fork froze halfway to my mouth. I'm not. Of course you are, Sophia cut in, her voice pleasant, but with an undertone I recognized. Don't argue. By mid-morning, Harper had us all down on the shore. The water was glassy, the sky pale blue, and a cold breeze kept catching at my hair. She carried a camera with a lens that looked like it could see straight through me. Let's start with you, Harper said, pointing at me like it was obvious. Over by that big rock? I hesitated, but Sophia's hand brushed my lower back, guiding me forward. You'll look amazing, she murmured. I stood where Harper told me. The boots she'd insisted I wear, sinking slightly into the damp earth. Turn a little, yeah, like that. Chin up, click, put your hands on your hips. No, softer. Relaxed, click, look toward the water. Imagine you're waiting for someone you're not sure will come. Click. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp, studying every angle, every movement up, and she said, "Tuck your hair behind your ear for me." I did, and instantly regretted it. The motion pulled the edge of my wig cap, just enough to expose the faintest strip of my natural hairline. Harper's camera didn't drop. Clicked out, our eyes met for a fraction of a second. Something unreadable passed over her face. Recognition, maybe? Or just curiosity sharpened into something more dangerous. Sophia, still standing with the others, called out, "Switch to the red scarf." I wrapped it around my neck with shaky hands, desperate to cover whatever Harper might have seen. The rest of the shoot passed in a blur. By the time we were done, my cheeks hurt from holding a careful smile, my mind running circles around that single click when the wig had shifted. That evening, Harper pulled Sophia aside while I pretended to read by the fire. Their voices were low, but I caught one sentence from Harper. She photographs differently when she forgets to pose. Sophia's answer was even quieter, but I could hear the smile in her voice. I know. And just like that, I realized I was no longer sure who was playing who, or when the game had started. The morning after the lakeside shoot, Harper was at the dining table with her laptop open and a mug of coffee steaming beside her. I stopped halfway to the kitchen when I saw what was on her screen, rows of thumbnails from yesterday's photos. My heart fed DED. She didn't look up right away. Instead, she clicked on an image, enlarged it, and leaned back in her chair like she was studying a painting. "Morning, Alina," she said finally, her eyes flicking to mine for the briefest moment. "You photograph interestingly." I tried. Keo smile, meaning she shrugged. "There are moments where you look completely natural, and others." She let the sentence trail off as she clicked to another photo. "Where you seem like you're playing a part." My palms went damp. I guess I'm not used to being in front of a camera. She sipped her coffee, gaze never leaving the screen. "That's one explanation."